But if you've just switched your tally on, a very good morning to you. Welcome to eNCA. This is Saturday Sport. My name is Nicole Kente, and now in studio with me, as per usual, we do have one of our resident favourites, Sunday Times senior sports writer Liam Dalkami is in. We'll get to him shortly, and he'll be with us throughout the show as we bring you all you need to know from the sporting front. It has been a bit of a wobbly start to the United Rugby Championship for South African teams, but it does look like they're slowly adapting to the Northern Hemisphere conditions, with a couple of wins last weekend for the Bulls and Sharks, and last night the Stormers. Good news on the travelling side there as well. The South African teams will get to play at home in round 6 and 7 after the UK removed this country from the red list. Eduard Coetzee is Sharks CEO, and he's going to be joining us to chat a bit about that and more as well. I did say we'll get to Liam shortly. How are you doing today?
I'm very well, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. No complaints. Let's get to Edward. Let's not waste our viewers' time. Edward, good morning to you. Thank you so much for making the time. Now, the one thing that I didn't say to our viewers when I gave them a bit of a rugby update was that the Sharks is going to be having a base in Switzerland. So for the benefit of our viewers, why the decision? What exactly are you hoping to achieve in making this move? Is it a temporary one, a permanent one? What's happening?
Yeah, good morning, Nicole and Liam. Yes, thanks for having me this morning. I think the idea behind having a base in Switzerland is solely set on the amount of travel we do when we go over to Europe. I think if you look at the last 4 weeks where the team travelled between Munster, then Glasgow, then Ospreys, then Cardiff, it's quite a big logistic nightmare, and we've been offered a great opportunity through the business community and the sporting community, the Cercle de Genève in Geneva, Switzerland, to base ourselves in Switzerland for the time when we overseas. So we're not moving out of Durban. It's just when we're in Europe, there'll be a base that's familiar for us. And from a high performance point of view, I think that will really play a part in hopefully a good performance when we're over there.
Speaking of Durban, Ed, you must be absolutely enthused by the fact that round 6 and 7 will now be played in South Africa. Just your thoughts around that, and also, what protocols will have to be observed, for those matches.
Yeah, thank you, Liam. We are very excited. I think the whole of South Africa is excited because we're all a little bit COVID fatigued at the moment with all the restrictions that we had to live under for the last 20 months. However, yeah, I'm not too sure about the exact requirements for fans to come into stadiums. We hear about vaccinated fans, we hear about limits on numbers. But from a rugby point of view, I can't wait for the likes of Leinster to come to Durban in February or March when it's 32 degrees or 40 degrees, and it's humid, and they get a little bit of their own medicine, because having played over there now for the last 4 weeks, I think all our South African teams can attest to the fact that the climate isn't African Southern Hemisphere climate. So from that point of view, I think there's a definite added advantage for the South African teams. But yeah, we just want our fans back. I mean, that's why we play sport. It's for the fans. We love our fans. We live for them, and we exist because of them. So yeah, we're very excited to have people back in the stadiums.
People don't often appreciate the fact that you have to tailor your game when you play in Durban. If you think back to Super Rugby in February and March with a greasy ball, the Sharks don't do a lot of running, there's a lot of kicking, and it's very cagey. I take it you'll take that as a huge ally as well when you host those sides in Durban.
Yes, Liam, I think there's a lot of things we'll take as huge allies when the teams come and play in Durban. In February, March, like the humidity is definitely one of them. I think if you don't live in Durban, it's not something that you easily get used to. So, but I think you've got to play what's in front of you. And I think if you look at, you mentioned kicking meters, the South African team struggled in the first two rounds of the URC, because on average, if you take the Sharks, we kick about 400 meters per game. And the first two teams we played against kicked more than 1,000 meters. So I think there's a huge strategic change in the way we've got to play rugby. And I think even in Durban in February, March, we'll have to apply that.
Eduard, I quickly just want to touch back on the Switzerland base, because it isn't just the base. Could you please tell our viewers a bit about the CSI funding and exactly how that is going to assist in terms of development here in South Africa as well?
Yes, Nicole, so the idea around that is so we created a foundation that'll be based obviously in South Africa, and we'll have an arm in Geneva. And it's to target the businesses based in Geneva to contribute through that foundation into our development and CSR programs. I think we are a very socially responsible franchise. We want to make sustainable and long-lasting impacts in our communities, because that's also one of the values of the Sharks as community. So if we can do that in a sustainable way through relationships in more affluent developed countries like Switzerland and other countries in Europe, I think that'll help us from a sustainable point of view when we do our CSR initiatives in South Africa.
Edward, earlier in the year, I think it was in January, I stand to be corrected, you announced the Sharks announced the 51% stake that MVM Holdings was going to be taking. Of course, there is a Rock Nation involvement there. Firstly, congratulations on all of these developments, because, I mean, about 2 years ago, the Sharks were in a bit of a different position than what they are now. So this is really, really great to hear. In terms of MVM Holdings, and speaking again about Rock Nation, I think every day I wake up and they're taking another South African athlete and being their agent. But it's not just rugby with Rock Nation. Of course, there's basketball, baseball, there's football as well. So when you actually look at that, are there talks about having collaborations overseas when it comes to Rock Nation as well, and the pool that they have available to them along different sporting codes? Have you guys talked about that?
Nicole, yes, thank you very much. I mean, without that private equity investment that we concluded in February, I think the Sharks, to be honest with you, would be a very, very different franchise today. I don't think we would have existed. I don't think we would have be able to have the same player pool that we've got now. And so from that point of view, it's usually positive. The Rock Nation relationship for us is a strategic one, and the reason for that is we've got to do things differently in rugby in South Africa at the moment. We shouldn't lose our culture and our values, but we need to package the product a little bit differently. So, and I think there's no one better in sport than a Rock Nation who's got a foot in sport and also a foot in entertainment, because I think we've got to entertain people, we've got to entertain different generations. So if you look at, there's also a generational transformation that we'll have to take up seriously in sport. You know, like the way we communicate to our fans is remarkably different than we did 10, 15, 20 years ago, because now we communicating to a more tech-based generation, where before all communication was on radio, print media, and above-the-line media. So from that point of view, strategically, the Rock Nation relationship is really something that we look forward to, and we're going to lean on heavily. And I also think that we've got something very, very exciting planned for hopefully the first game where we can have full crowds, which we're aiming for in February. So, and that we'll do in conjunction with Rock Nation.
Just finally, Ed, I mean, you've got Cardiff Blues tonight. They blow a bit hot and cold. But if you can come back with 2 wins on the road, I mean, that will set you up quite nicely for the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, I don't want to jinx it, because you don't know what's coming. I mean, Cardiff Blues in one match played 2 different I mean, they were 2 different teams. I also think that was largely due to the Bulls. I think the Bulls were unbelievable in the second half. I think they came out and just decided, and when the Bulls, with that pack of forwards of theirs, decide that no one's playing rugby on the other side anymore, then not too much you can do. But yeah, we've got a big game tonight. You know, it's week 4 of a tour. A lot of the young guys have had their first full tour with the Sharks. We've got 14 players either back in Durban injured or with the Springboks and national teams. So if we can get through today, like you said, and we get some points, yeah, it'll put us in good stead for the rest of the competition.
Eduard, we're going to have to leave it there for now, but thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for joining us. Good luck with that match, and good luck with the announcement that you have, or you said something special, coming earlier next year. We are definitely looking forward to that. That is Eduard Coetzee. He is the Sharks CEO, chatting, of course, all things rugby. Now, still to come.